Congratulations, you've just found an Afridi bottle. Your first wish to find a talented artist to draw your D&D character just came true. Bubble Laser is a freelance artist on Fiverr.com who has been illustrating D&D characters professionally for 2 years, and she wants to draw your characters. Bubble Laser has illustrated official logos, podcast art, and board game art, but her passion lies in bringing nerdy people's D&D parties, NPCs, and player characters to life. With hundreds of characters drawn and a 5-star rating on Fiverr, you can know your commissioned character will be well taken care of. So click the link in the description, look her up on Fiverr, or find her art page on Facebook or Instagram at Bubble Laser Art, and get your characters illustrated today. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Brian.
I'm Will.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything Dungeons and Dragons, from juicy juxtaposition to jars of gems, and today we're talking about genies.
Okay, so D&D Genies, Brian.
Yeah.
D&D Genies are loosely based upon the ancient mythological beings known as Jinn. Now, Jinn originated from pre-Islamic Arabian folklore, and the name Jinn was used to describe various supernatural entities, both malevolent or benign.
They were more like spirits, right?
Kind of, sort of. It's complicated, but I'm leaving it here with the super simplified kind of blanket statement because the mythology behind Jinn is very complex, convoluted, and it's been changed and integrated with various cultures and religions over the course of millennia.
Yeah, man.
And that's not what this podcast is about.
Will Smith's Aladdin, the genie in Aladdin now. Like,
over the course of millennia. And
that's how far we've come.
This is how far we've come.
Yeah.
So genies in D&D are depicted as powerful, rare, and legendary beings from the elemental planes. There they rule from their lavish palaces as immortal nobility. They have a reputation for being mighty, proud, majestic, arrogant, and decadent. Few creatures, save for gods, dragons, or demon lords, can challenge their power.
Okay.
It's said that a genie is born when a soul of a sentient creature melds with the primordial matter of an elemental plane.
Oh, wow.
Though many sentient souls do pass on these planes, the coalescence of an elementally fused soul manifesting into a genie is still extraordinarily, rare.
Yeah, that's kind of like that's some wizard business, really, like transcending into like a new form, like that's uber powerful. You have like this this primal energy like infusion going on. So like a lich and a genie, they're very different, but like they're similar in that way to me.
I suppose so. Yeah.
So like somebody cool as hell's got to die in like the
not necessarily.
Like well,
I mean, you could homebrew it that specifically it's powerful souls. It's not really stated. The concept is that it's extraordinarily rare and no one really knows how it works. But regardless of what kind of soul becomes a genie almost never has any remaining connection to its soul's past life.
Oh, so, wow.
A soul simply provides a building block that determines the genie's form and appearance, as well as some carried over personality traits. Now, the fact that the soul determines some of the appearance makes me think, like, what if Jeff dies and then Jeff comes back as a genie? So it's just like Genie Jeff.
That's Jeff. He ate dirt until he died, and now he's an Earth genie.
And like someone who knew Jeff in his past life sees new Genie Jeff is like, Jeff?
He's like, Jeff.
Is that you?
No. Do you have any dirt? It is Jeff.
It is Jeff. That's fucking hilarious.
That's exactly what Jeff would say.
So
holy smokes.
So yeah, also some personality traits. Still, despite looking humanoid physically, genies are nothing more than elemental spirit given sentience and form. They do not mate and have offspring with each other, although if one wishes it, they can mate with a mortal and produce a genasi.
Oh wow. That's right.
Yeah, they aren't born as infants that grow to adulthood. They don't require food or drink to live, and when they die, they leave no physical form behind.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah. So
like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, straight up. So, though the 4 major genies are all very different in their own right, there are some characteristics that are shared amongst all genie kind. The first being that they all see themselves as born nobility who expect to be served by others and loathe and rail at the idea of being bound into service themselves.
Yeah, for sure. That tracks.
Yeah. Secondly,
although the genie from Aladdin is totally bound to service. That
sucks. We'll talk a bit about that because binding genies into service is just a thing apparently, and they hate it.
I hate it. I hate it so much because it's a real problem.
It's a real actual problem.
Oh my god. Oh man. Okay.
Secondly, genies are extremely susceptible to flattery, gifts, fawning, adoration, and and open worship. They dig that shit.
Yeah, they're like
that
chubby
feeds their
little
ego.
kings. They're like
Chubby little
super
kings.
into themselves.
Well, they're not necessarily chubby. Actually, most of them are physically beautiful.
Yeah, but they act like, like they don't lift
Sure.
a hand and stuff until...
Yeah, a lot of them are like that for sure. Thirdly, whether good or evil, all genies have a very alien mentality that makes understanding their behavior rather difficult. Not quite blue-orange morality level, but frustrating to say the least.
Okay, yeah.
And then lastly, the various genies do not care for each other at all. None view others as allies, and many types of genies view the other types as outright enemies.
There you go, man. They're chubby little kings. They're really territorial, and they don't like the other ones. They're like, I deserve the worship and praise. I am the great genie.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So all genies in general are powerful, but 1% of all genies are powerful on another level. And they're
Super genies?
Super genies. They're called noble genies.
I didn't know we had super genies in this game.
These are the genies that are so powerful they have reality altering abilities and can grant wishes.
These genies are the Infinity Stones embodied.
Indeed. So here are your 3 wish genies right here, the noble genies. So and each genie type has a noble genie type, subtype, if you will.
Okay,
and
cool.
they basically, they're just bigger, badder, can do more, rule more territory, et cetera, et cetera. Other than that, there's not really a difference.
Okay, cool.
Like you said, super genies.
They're super genies.
So
They have Ultra Instinct.
Today we're going to be covering the 4 most prominent of genie kind, the ones tied to the 4 major elements of air, water, earth, and fire. The genie, or the Genie, the Marids, the Tao, and the Ifriti. There are other genie types that will be covered on another day, but not today. We don't have time for that shit.
Oh, we're gonna have genies part 2.
Yeah,
Sweet.
we'll have genie kin.
Genie kid. Okay, sounds good.
So let's start with the genies of the element of air.
Ooh, let's.
The Jinn. So the Jinn are attractive, well-muscled, and beautiful humanoids that stand roughly 8 to 10 feet tall. They have blue skin and dark eyes, and they are known to dress in shimmering silks that are as much for comfort as for flaunting their aesthetic physique. If any of genie kind could be said to be good, it would be the Jinn, who possess relatively benevolent minds and have a favorable attitude towards mortal humanoids, if a somewhat mischievous one. So they like to play pranks, but they're not outright malevolent. They are especially interested, of course, in beautiful humanoids.
So what, like they'll like rearrange your furniture like while you're gone?
Yeah, I can see that.
Cool.
Your average genie is obsessed with the sensual side of luxury. They delight in rich foods, scents, and sensations, succulent fruits, ostentatious feasts, fine perfumes, pungent wines, shimmering silks. All of these are their major interests.
I should have put my earmuffs on.
As such, creatures interested in delight, Jinn are the most likely of genie kind to take mortals to bed and produce genasi.
Oh, man, that's dope.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, actually.
So like a normal birth, just the genasi though? Or because I know that there's genasi origin with genies, like that is more expansive than that, right? Than the slow rate that would create genasi,
which we talked about in the genasi episode.
So there's I'm kind of that was a long time ago, dude.
It was a long time ago.
So basically, they give birth to lots of them, or there's like these special ones that get birth like individually, like one at a time out of this congregation.
Okay, I'm trying to understand what you're saying. So,
like, are these genasi any different from?
No, they're just genasi.
Okay,
and they're not different from genasi born from genasi having children amongst each other, or from humanoids that end up getting infused and becoming genasi that way.
Okay,
they're essentially all the same. They're just humanoids with elemental infused into their soul.
Nice. Okay, so if you have a super genie that makes a baby, is it a super genasi?
I mean, maybe canonically it could be, but like if we're talking about game mechanics, no.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so yeah. Still, Jinn are not all beauty and delight. They are known to be chaotic as the wind, and they wield power and fury. They wield the power and fury of whirlwinds and violent storms. They can fly, summon air elementals, and hurl lightning bolts. A genie's fury is a thing of violence and destruction.
Some Zeus stuff.
Yeah, kind of. Further muddying their ethical standing is their keeping of slaves. Now, whether the servants of a Jinn are slaves or servants is up for a bit of debate. I would say still slavery, but it's definitely a shit ton different from the other genies, which we'll get into more extensively. But Jinn view servitude as a matter of fate. that no being great or small can deny. This is why of all genies, jinn are most amenable to becoming servants themselves.
Okay.
They don't harbor ill will about it unless it's like forever. And then they're like, well, no. Because they don't even keep their slaves forever. As such, Genie see their servants as deserving of kindness, protection, and payment in decadent delights themselves. Those who serve them have almost always bargained to do so willingly and can convince their Lord Genie for freedom with sufficient reason and bribery.
Oh, wow. So like slaves with benefits.
Yeah, slaves with benefits. Okay. That's essentially what it is.
This sounds more like what indentured servitude was kind of like ideally supposed to be, sort of?
Kind of, maybe, not really.
Did they agree?
It's definitely different.
Well, did they agree to being a servant?
Sometimes, not all the time, but most of the time it's a bargain deal.
Yeah, then I'm with you.
When it's humanoids. Otherwise, like if it's elementals, then no, it's probably like they're forced.
Okay, so we got subjugation. Welcome back to this part of the show where we talk about subjugation.
Indeed. Comes up a lot. A lot of evil creatures out here in D&D.
Yeah, or just like, this jinn aren't evil, are they?
No, they tend to be chaotic good, but like I said, it's still a form of servitude that is at best morally gray. That being said, they're not human. They don't think about these things the same, and they have the power of fucking gods. What are you going to do?
Yeah, sure.
The jinn rule the elemental plane of air from atop floating cloud islands, covered in enormous pavilions, enormous buildings, courtyards, fountains, and gardens. The capital of their loosely hierarchical society is the Citadel of Ice and Steel, which is a chunk of ice and earth sculpted into an oval-like shape, atop which sits a citadel.
The fucking Fortress of Solitude.
I guess so. The Citadel is in a perpetual state of falling through the elemental plane of air.
But that's forever.
And only the great Caliph of the Jinn has the ability to impose gravity here in this place.
That's a sick power.
Indeed. It is pretty cool.
I impose the will of nature upon you.
Indeed.
Sick.
The jinn do not care for the marids, which are the water genies, whom they see as arrogant, and they openly despise both Ifriti and Dao, who are fucking evil and they hate.
Okay.
So, with that being said, let's take a short rest.
Let's do it. Your first wish came true, but now you want to use your second wish to find a way to get that character on a custom character sheet. Well, guess what? You can do that. Bubble Laser has custom character sheets that she can put your character on. Want to turn heads at your next gaming session? Want to always be reminded just how freaking cool your character looks every time you check your sheet? Want something awesome to frame when you finish your campaign? Do yourself a favor and order a custom character sheet. Character sheets are currently available for 5th edition and 3.5 D&D, and Pathfinder sheets are on the way. So click the link in the description, look up Bubble Laser on Fiverr, or find her art page on Facebook or Instagram at Bubble Laser Art, and get your character sheet today. Hello and welcome to the part of the episode where we are not talking about that last thing. No, we're not. No, Will. No. Stop it. I see your... No. Don't. We're not talking about that.
When did our love become so assertive?
Ooh, it's always, I don't know. This episode, I guess.
Okay.
But it is our love. Good guess. That's what we're talking about in this part of the show. We're also going to talk about video games and how we play them. And we have a YouTube channel where we host those recordings.
Indeed, we do. It's called TDC Plays. The link will be in the description. And if you enjoy what we do here at the Dungeoncast and you like the sound of our voices and our personalities, you can hear those there at TDC Plays playing video games.
Watch me play Mega Man X.
Indeed. Or watch me and my sister Kiki play Zelda Wind Waker HD.
Watch us on Sundays for Super Smash Sundays.
Indeed. Or watch some of our older playthroughs where we did a Pokemon Nuzlocke through Heart Gold.
I just bought Star Fox 64.
Oh, nice.
Something is really wrong with Falco's G Diffuser.
For sure. I've never played Star Fox 64.
Well, maybe that's something we should do then.
That sounds like a good time.
Okay.
With that being said, let's get back to the show.
Bye. We've returned. I'm going to do it again.
Diet Dr. Pepper. No, leave it in. Let's do this.
Okay, we're back.
We're back. Let's talk about water genies. Marids. Marids are the genies of the element of water and are said to be the most powerful and wondrous of all genies.
Now, the most wondrous genie?
Yeah, because they have the most like mystical power.
You described like Cloud City to me. Like, all this crazy cool stuff.
I guess shit's about to get crazier. Now this is
off. The hype is real.
Canonically, they're the most powerful. Though in the monster manual, they're all identically powerful.
Okay, because all genies need to breathe. So except for this genie, you can breathe underwater.
Actually, no genies have to breathe at all.
Oh, that's right. You said that.
Thing, yeah.
Shoot.
So As such, it is said that they tower over other genies, standing 16 to 18 feet tall.
Oh, they're giant.
They're giant.
That's like hill giant.
Indeed. Their physical description varies depending on edition. In the first and second edition of D&D, Marids are depicted as beautiful humanoids with pearl teeth and skin the various colors of the ocean and hair of bluish black.
Oh, man.
While underwater, most Marids of these editions wore no clothing, and on land they wore large pantaloons and flowing robes.
Large pantaloons. They're very nice.
Indeed. The artwork for each successive edition, though, has added fish-like features to their appearance until we have reached 5e, where the Marids are depicted as almost grotesque-looking fish people, with scaly skin, fins on their face and arms, clawed hands, and needle-like teeth.
Oh, wow.
So take your pick. I like both, and it's very hard for me to decide. Because it's like, it's cool to have a variation between how they all look, because otherwise, the water ones look a lot like the air ones, but like, they look really gross, and I'm not a fan of that.
True. I mean, I do like the incorporation of like the fishy features. That's like on brand for me.
Right.
Maybe they should do like the pants, like parachute pants, and then like the hair is up in a top knot, and like they have a wallet chain.
Well, that's what the pantaloons are. They're the parachute pants that you're talking about.
Okay.
But
I was picturing the pants that are tight at the ankles and the waist, and they're like really billowy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, I'm talking about like bell-bottom style.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like bad 90s pants.
Sure. But for me, I feel like they've gone a little too far with the fishy look because it looks so drastically different from any of the other genies.
Oh, it's almost hard to tell it's a genie?
Yeah, like you would have no fucking idea. It just looks like a weird, grotesque fish person. But anyways, while the Jinn are obsessed with sensuality, Marids are obsessed with prestige. And you'll notice each genie has their own like luxurious obsession, if you will.
Cool. Okay.
So Marids have the reputation of being the most vehemently independent, proud, and pompous of the genies. Every one Marid believes that they themselves deserve the title of Padishah, which is the title of the technical ruler of all Marids. They are largely unpredictable in nature, as their moods shift as rapidly as the sea at storm.
I love this hierarchy like that these creatures have in some of these, like the way dragons do, now genies. That's super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So all Marids see themselves as nobility and thus give themselves noble titles such as Shah, Sultan, etc. They consider all non-Marids inferior to them inherently, and mortals especially so. So a mortal dealing with a Marid will be expected to use ostentatious honorifics and odes to the Marid's greatness, or face wrath of a very, very angry genie.
Or die.
Or die.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I think insulting a Marid is a capital offense that will end in death.
Sounds right.
So Marids have little concerns or demands for their slaves, which they do have many of. They keep them simply for the status of ownership. Again, it's all about prestige. Those that do go out of their way to enslave do so for great artists and performers that they use in their courts. Again, a prestige type of thing. Like, look at like the great artists that served me, yada, yada, yada.
Okay.
As I said before, Marids are considered the most powerful of genies. They can inherently manipulate water in any way they desire.
Oh, sick.
This includes creating water from nothing and shaping both clouds and mist. They can also turn themselves into mist if they so choose. Also, all genies can fly, so they can as well. And they can create sea storms and are all powerful spellcasters.
Oh my God. And they like rise up out of the ocean in like a water tornado and just start like sending like ocean bullets at you.
Exactly. That's exactly what a Marid could do.
Oh man.
Marids dwell on the elemental plane of water, where they rule from independent fortresses made of coral and pearl.
Oh, sick. That's really cool.
Yeah. Officially, the Marids are all citizens of an empire and all owe fealty to the seat of power, which is the Citadel of 10,000 pearls, and its ruler, the great Padishah of the Marids.
This is great. This is great lore. I love this.
In truth, though, this empire is extremely loose, with each Marid free to rule their own community as they will.
Okay.
One final personality trait attributed to Marids that stems from their egotism is their propensity for long, embellished stories that they tell about themselves and all Marid kind. Marids tend to be fanciful exaggerators that lie often and very creatively. It's considered a capital offense to interrupt a Marid telling a tale.
Oh, God, that's so annoying. That's very annoying.
Any questions about the Marids?
No, I don't have questions. Well, like, I don't know. It sounds great. Like, the writers did a great job. Whoever created this particular part of the mythos is like, you're
Good
very
job.
on point.
Yeah.
Kudos from Brian.
I like the Marids. I like the genies in general. It was fun doing the research for them.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Elemental Plane of Air is super cool. It's like on brand with like the way like genies reminded me of like Bahamut's Palace, the way they have their like their Cloud Palace and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure Bahamut has relationships with certain genies for sure.
Yeah, they all have a secret handshake.
So let's move on to the Tao, who are genies of the element of Earth.
Okay.
And they are depicted as tall, muscular humanoids with characteristics that evoke their elemental nature, such as like dark, rocky skin and a burly, stocky physique.
Okay. Do they eat dirt?
Yes, kinda. They eat gemstones for sure.
Oh, yes. Perfect.
Yeah, they have a reputation for being both greedy and malicious creatures that are absolutely obsessed with wealth. So this is their obsession: wealth, wealth, wealth. Does it have monetary value? I want it.
Okay.
They adorn themselves with extravagant amounts of jewelry crafted from precious gemstones and rare metals. To a Tao, visible monetary value is paramount, as every Tao wishes to be the envy of every other Tao it meets.
So they're wearing jewelry and stuff.
Yeah, like to an extreme, insane degree.
Yeah, they've got
like as much as their body can bear.
They've got at least several chains on.
Exactly. Well, never mind. I was going to spoilers for Game of Thrones, but never mind.
Okay.
The Tao dwell in the elemental plane of Earth in an immense complex of interconnected twisting tunnels and caverns known as the Great Dismal Delve. Here, they drive their slaves tirelessly to mine out precious materials, expand their ever-growing mazeworks, build their ostentation palaces and cities, and serve them for their every waking moment.
Oh, man. The slaves are doing the digging?
Oh, yeah. The Taos are... it's hard to say which are worse between the Tao and the Ifriti, but like they are horrifying slave drivers.
Oh, man.
Indeed.
You'd think they would just like onyx their way through like the mountainside.
Well, they can, but like why?
Jerks.
Why would they?
Why wouldn't they?
Because
That's awesome.
the genies like
Chubby
feel
kings.
like lifting a finger to do anything is below them. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So the Tao are without any form of empathy or compassion for others. They have no concern working mortals to death for their wants. The dangerous work Tao slaves are forced to do leads to countless deaths and causes the Tao to need to provide and procure a never-ending supply of slaves.
So they're just reckless about their resources.
Absolutely, because they have no shortage of wealth to pay for new slaves.
Right.
Because they live in the element of the plane of Earth, which has all the gemstones in the world.
Maybe you can like convince one to be a saver and like, maybe you should treat us better because you wouldn't have to spend so much money.
No, because a big part of them is about spending that money because they want it to be visible.
I'm so rich, it doesn't matter.
I'm so rich, it doesn't matter. That's a huge part of them. Like,
who said you could come out of the mine? Yeah.
When it comes to the Ifriti, which we'll talk about later, because they're very evil, they're very devil-like, but they're actually kind of likely to grant wishes more so than like a Tao or a Merid, because part of their mentality is like, by granting a mortal a wish, it like brings great like prestige and honor to themselves, because the greatest wish of a mortal is something given freely and discarded freely without thought by someone as mighty as an Ifrit.
A pittance.
Yeah, a pittance.
Oh,
and
God.
like it's definitely a power play, if you will.
Okay.
So back to Tao though. So where was I? The Tao view mortals as nothing more than potential slaves and will never lift a finger to assist one unless there's wealth to be gained from it. When it comes to other genies, Tao despise both the Jinn and the Marids. Ifriti, on the other hand, have a very strong trade agreement for the procurement of slaves and worked metals. So the Ifriti and the Tao work together. They don't like each other, but they're too valuable to each other to have open war.
Interesting. Yeah. Very interesting.
The Tao, like all genies, have many inherent magical abilities, including shapeshifting, stone shaping, summoning earth elementals, and the natural ability to cast a plethora of spells.
Earth elementals pretty strong, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, elementals in general tend to be pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Extraplanar beings in general, yeah, just pretty fucking powerful.
It's like CR7, something like that? 6?
Something like that. I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, quite powerful.
Pretty big. Okay.
All Tao owe their allegiance to the great Khan of the Tao, who dwells at the center of the Great Dismal Delve in a sprawling labyrinth known as the Sevenfold Mazework. We talked about this a lot more on the Elemental Planes episode.
Yeah, that rang a bell for sure.
But this is a magical city or citadel that's basically an enormous labyrinth, and it's enchanted in such a way to confuse all non-Tao who attempt to navigate it. Even Minotaurs are not immune to this, so even a Minotaur would get lost here, which would probably deeply upset them.
That's how you know it's bad, when you pass like a Minotaur skeleton in this place.
You're like,
oh
shit.
God, I'm dead. I'm dead.
And I think they do hold a fair amount of Minotaur slaves too.
Oh,
they'll enslave anything.
Because at least they're like okay at the maze. They're not gonna like get out of there.
You need
alive,
them to be at least functional.
Yeah, like you can go find them. They'll live longer in the maze.
So any questions about Tao?
No, that was cool.
Yeah.
They were cool.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. Evil
Dirty
slave
boys.
drivers. Yeah,
Some
dirty
dirty
boys,
boys.
for sure. So let's talk about the Ifrit or the Ifriti, depending on how you want to pronounce it. I forget which one's plural and which one's singular.
Ifriti's probably, I don't want to say.
Yeah, but the Ifrit or Ifriti are genies of the element of fire, and they have a reputation for cruelty and tyranny. They're depicted as hulking 12-foot tall humanoids with red or black skin. They're well-muscled and massive in bulk, and they have a very devilish look to them due to their usually red skin and the horns protruding from their heads.
Okay.
So, also, much like devils, the Ifriti are lawful evil, both renowned for their ruthless cruelty and their strict, orderly society. This orderly conduct is a byproduct of their genie obsession, which is conquest and ruling. So much like all the other genies, the Ifriti see themselves as nobility, but unlike Jinn, who revel in decadence, Marids, who squabble over prestige, and Dao, who are obsessed with amassing wealth, the Ifriti take pleasure in the active ruling of their subjects and finding more subsequent subjects to rule.
So they just want to impose themselves.
Yeah, it's about like they are nobility. And nobility rules, so that's what they're about.
And this
they
is
want
my
to
right.
rule. It's their right. Yeah.
And there's a lot like devil elemental plane of fire stuff is just like congealed together, huh? It's like aren't there a lot of devils that, like, live there?
They're closely related in that like they deal with each other a lot because they're so alike.
Okay, yeah.
So there's a lot of devils that live or come to the city of Brass, which exists in the elemental plane of fire.
Cool.
And they have a lot of deals with the Ifriti. So where was I? Excuse me. The Ifriti view all others as potential subjects to be oppressed. They organize their militaries to invade other planes for more slaves.
Wow.
These slaves they rule as oppressive tyrants, only promoting the cruelest amongst their slaves. These of which they turn into overseers and give them whips to help keep the rank and file slaves in line.
Oh, dang.
So they turn the slaves on each other.
Yeah.
Ifriti are also known for their great ability to beguile and deceive. They use their silver tongues as often as their strength of arm and magic to get what they want. Again, very devil-like. As masters of flame, Ifriti are immune to fire's heat, and they can create it on a whim. They can summon fire elementals, hurl powerful fire magic, and utilize their fire control for famed and extraordinary weapon and armor smithing, which is another reason why the Dao and them have such a big trade agreement, because the Ifriti make the best weapons.
Okay.
All Ifriti owe their allegiance to the great Sultan of the Ifrit. He dwells within the charcoal palace in the fabled city of Brass, the epicenter of Ifrit culture and society. We talked about the city of Brass a lot in the elemental plane episode, so go check out that episode if you want that info.
I should really go back and check out that episode. I love that lore. The
elemental plane stuff is fun.
Yeah, this is a good expansion on that.
The Ifriti despise both Jinn and Marids, and they tolerate Dao due to, again, their trade agreement. So any questions about any of Genie kind?
I want to know who's winning in the fight, just straight up. No armies, no
armies, just one-on-one.
Just like ethereal plane.
In the 5e monster manual, it's a pretty even match because they're all challenge rating 11 with very similar abilities. I don't have their stat blocks on me right now because I'm not reading 4 stat blocks on a single episode.
No,
that's annoying.
That's bad. Bad audio.
So one thing I wanted to talk a little bit about is this is where we get into I want more Warlock packs.
Yes. Okay, we should have talked about it last episode with the bronze dragon.
Yeah, sure. Because dragons, we've kind of talked about how dragons should be able to be Warlock patrons when they're ancient.
But this is a great, I think we've mentioned this too. Yeah. Genie's a great candidate for that.
I really think there should be an elemental pact for the Warlock. And also, I think there should be just a general a Genie or elemental bloodline one for the sorcerer.
A warlock totally adds up, and I think more bloodlines for sorcerers would be great too.
Yeah, and it's just because both of these things have been available in all past editions of D&D that included warlock and sorcerer.
Yeah.
So I just want it because I like the idea of specializing in a specific element anyways. So this is a fun way to do it, and I just wish it was more built into the rules because I don't want to have to homebrew this. I want to be able to be I'm going to take the Genie Warlock path, or I'm going to take the Genie bloodline.
I mean, there's a lot of great elemental magic. So an expended spell list for Warlock in any element would be super viable, I think. Yeah. And even if you're going to create source material
here's one easy thing. Let's say you have a Genie Warlock pact. Whichever Genie type you pick, your Eldritch Blast now becomes that type of damage. So cold or fire or I guess you could do force or bludgeoning, I suppose, for The earth one, I'm not sure. I'm sure you can work something out there. And then
rock damage is bludgeoning damage. So yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, like
I just think that would be pretty fucking sweet.
That's just the only. It would be sweet. It would bother me though because it isn't consistent with the rest of like maybe as an expanded invocation. Maybe not like automatically when you take the path.
Yeah. I think that's a fair assumption. I mean, you could kind of already do that, I think, with some of the invocations from Xanathor's Guide. I think there might be a one to turn Eldritch Bolt into fire or something like that.
Maybe. I don't know. I've read a lot of them for my character on our other show, but I don't know if that's one of them. That doesn't
I'm not sure.
sound super familiar, but I think it would be a great idea if you're gonna put the resources forth to expand in the source material for this sort of thing. That's something you could easily add in to make it like, hey, we got like additional warlock packs. It's a super popular class. Like
definitely.
Like why not? I mean, for sorcerers too, I think they really do need extra bloodline stuff, and this would be a great way to incorporate them in.
I mean, I think they have the Phoenix one. I'm not sure if that one's official or not. And they technically have the Storm one. So, like, you do have stuff to work with. It's just, some of these just seem so obvious. It's like, why isn't this a thing yet? And this is one of those things to me, personally.
So you're telling me on past editions you were able to do this sort of thing?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, wow. Like what? Like 4th edition, I guess?
Yeah, 4th edition and 3rd. Yeah.
So you would be like a warlock with an earth Genie?
You could take an elemental pack.
Wow, that's so cool.
It was Heroes of the Elemental Chaos was the source book for that and for you.
So at least there is some source material, even if it's from a previous edition, that if you want to homebrew something, you have something to build on.
True. Yeah.
Well, that's not so bad. But really, how long? They must be playing a real long game with 5e.
Yeah, they must be.
Kind of like, this is something like, I feel like if you are hurting in sales, that is something you could definitely throw out.
Yeah, they definitely got a lot of things that they can fall back on if they decide they're hurting in sales. That's for sure.
I don't think they are.
No, and I don't think they are either. And with that being said, I think we can get ready for our long rest.
Yes.
I think we'll go ahead and pump Super Quest Saga again. The show where we here at the Dungeoncast sit around the table and play some Dungeons and Dragons, but specifically space sci-fi adventure Dungeons and Dragons with laser pistols, evil elven empires, strange goblin technology, and a bunch of other futuristic bullshit. And it's a lot of fun.
One and only one half orc.
Yeah, the only half orc, because the orcs were wiped out 20,000 years ago.
Every episode,
or actually 80,000 years ago. Sorry.
Every episode past our first episode, there's only one half orc.
Yeah, it's true.
In the first episode, there's lots of half orcs.
There's lots of half orcs. Yeah, because you guys are time displaced. You guys are from the original like D&D campaign vanilla setting of like medieval whatnot, and then you got displaced 100,000 years into the future.
Yeah, I think it was called Vanilla World, right?
Sure, we'll go with Vanilla World. Yeah, that's the name of my setting, Vanilla World.
Vanilla World.
Yeah, let's call it a game.
Okay,
I'll touch you guys later.
What's the third wish? To set the genie free, of course. But don't worry, you can find an art genie on Facebook, Instagram, or Fiverr.com. Bubble Laser Art.